Demons cannot deal with an ecosystem egcwele ngomthandazo. So therefore, how successful entities are to really oppress the church depends on the spiritual climate of that country. You will have a much harder time with spiritual war in a country like Haiti than you will ever have in a country like, say, for instance, Denmark, just by mere virtue of the sheer amount of witchcraft being practiced in that region. Witchcraft lodges entities over a country, over a region, and those entities make sorcery that much more prosperous. But those entities are lodged by the moral turpitude of the men and women on the ground. You essentially make the playing field for entities that much more robust when in yourself you suck. So how much witchcraft you practice and how careless you are for your fellow man makes your entities that much more afflicting of really consecrated people. So we always feel like we're drowning in the ocean as Christians over here. That's why Jesus says, if they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. He does not insist that you stay in a hostile territory, because that territory is hostile only because of entities and people feeding that monster. So if you move somewhere else, even if people can bewitch you from your native country because they saw something of yours on YouTube, you will still succeed anyway, because you are not subject to territorial entities. So lo muntu uzabamosha isikhathi nemali nje akuthakatha ngoba uposte something on YouTube, which is why, in spite of how much South Africans will still have access to my videos, nonetheless mangihlezi in another country abazokwazi ukungihlukumeza ngoba the prosperity of the witchcraft is dependent on the entities operating in that geographical location. Demons spiritually manipulate stuff. Do you understand? Demons spiritually manipulate stuff. Kodwa, it's a kingdom, and a kingdom operates much like any hierarchy. There are laws, there are rules, there are structures, there are hierarchies. And in an organization, as a broomer, a sweeper, carrying a broom, I guess, you cannot just go straight to the CEO to try and defy somebody that's sitting in middle management. You're not going to get anywhere. There are rules. It's not easy for you to just knock out umuntu because it depends on where they're at and also what like I said, what's operating hierarchically in that space. And the spiritual climate of a nation really and truly depending on the constitution of the people on the ground. The spiritual constitution of a nation, depending on the people on the ground, can cause God's angels not so much to flounder, because they never can. They're always stronger than fallen angels, but to flee from a territory. If God, not flee, but leave. They don't have, like, only demons flee from the power of God. God's spirits don't flee from demons. It's the other way around. However, they can be, you see it in the book of Daniel, they can be, if they're lower order, restricted or thwarted by a much bigger prince, in which case then the archangel Michael has to come and deal with that prince. But God's angels or God's entities don't cower and shrink back in the climate of even a prince. They, however, sometimes can be too small for a prince to move past the prince. And so in that event, they then need a much higher order angel. So therefore, if at all, there is no protection of your particular geographical location from the angels of God. It doesn't mean that those angels have had to skedaddle or bounce because they're scared of entities that are winning. They never can. What it means is that God has not sent for you. What that means is that you've been handed over. What that means is that God has said, this nation, I tried for them. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, I will come down from heaven and I will heal their land. I gave them a shot upon shot upon shot. Now they've made out of my servants Josiah before Pharaoh Necho. Now they've made out of my servants Elijah in the presence of Jezebel. Now they've made out of my servants the Lion of David in the presence of Athaliah. Now they've made out of my servants Jesus in the climate of Herod. They have made my children to have to hide if they're going to make it. And so if your nation has made out of God's servants those who have to hide, if at all they're going to work out with any level of prosperity, on that day, God is not going to be patronized by your insistence on your own thing. He will hand you over to your reprobate mind. He will hand you over to the entities that you have lost over your country. He will hand you over to it. And if God has handed you over to entities, it means that he has given his angels express instructions to leave you destroy yourselves. He has given express instruction to his angels to leave you self-erode. That's what a reprobate mind is. It's not that God's angels can't do anything for you. Their hands are so tied, they're much stronger than unholy angels. Holy angels don't shrink back, neither cower before even very haughty princes, but they can be too small to deal with a prince, in which event God will send a prince from heaven like Raphael or Michael or Gabriel. If the Lord therefore is not sending for you, you're handed over. Angels have not cowered. They're just standing back watching you self-destruct. And the only people that they're here for in that region are the Trino God. Just 2 days ago, when I was busy moisturizing my face over here, I had a vision because I'm busy doing my face massage. In that blinking season, I saw like a spotlight, you know, like in theater with actors and actresses and everything in Broadway, how sometimes the stage would be completely dark the whole auditorium, pitch as night, and then all of a sudden a light comes on and there's a spotlight on only one actor or actress for them to do their thing that they're doing. But the whole entire ecosystem is just pitch black. I had a dream, not a dream, a vision of there being a spotlight on just me. And as I was walking, it was following me everywhere. But the whole entire ecosystem around me was pitch as night. And I was like, yo. And look at me doing my TEFL course, about to go and get my degree from WITS so I can go to Korea and teach. And not just me, but abantu bafana nami. Kusho ukuthi the moment I board the aeroplane and leave, whatever boulders are gonna fall on you, whatever meteors from outer space are gonna finally be allowed to land in your backyard. Zizo land. Whatever fire and brimstone from heaven, O Sodom, is supposed to land on you. Izoza. Ngoba mina, there are plans to get out of here. There are active plans. Zokungikhipha out of here. And God wanginikeza a vision while I was moisturizing my face, where there was a spotlight on me like I was on Broadway. And the spotlight making landela everywhere I was going. God was everywhere around me. Evidencing ukuthi God was showing me ukuthi this is your country. And there are spotlights on only my Christians. And as soon as ngibakhipha one by one bonke, as soon as I have put them in safe haven, as soon as I have ensconced them in protection, and they won't know whether they're coming or going. That means ukuthi ingilosi zikasomandla zimile nje zimele uKarabo ukuthi ahambe la eMzansi. So kusho ukuthi nina nikhurumetswe, you've been incubated, you've been awarded ijazi, guys, by the presence of abazalwane amidst you. And those among them abafuna ukusala la ngoba banthanda enough to endure hardship because bayanthanda nina, yo bazothatha in their stride indaba yokuthi uSomandla is judging an entire country with them in it ngoba bahalile ukuhamba bahanotsa maya bayitshulisa uri this is my country, I love it and I love the people here, so I'm gonna try for them. Kodwa thina bange esiqelile ngenhliziyo zethu zonke esinqengile uGod simnqengile sathi ngicela ungikhiphe out of South Africa please ngiyakupha noma ingena ama resources ngiyazi ukuthi uGod uSomandla, you are all powerful, everything is possible for you. Ngiyazi ukuthi anginamali anginama passport anginalutho kodwa wena God you can make it happen. Kuba ungithema ukubadlatsamaya abamnqengile uGod, abantu that petition the Lord to leave noma ku difficult ukuphuma because of their circumstances uyabakhipha. Jongani na you tried nina ukungiblock mina from leaving. You tried and God hooked up an alternative arrangement. Imungengile badeng babatla ngosala because bagata South Africa for what reason I don't know. Mara nna I guess by and ke mo ke tsamaya and ke thola vision of a spotlight mo di mamelo ka fela ke liwan lemon kingeng lemon jeng la nkutlo South Africa lemon jeng and bonjabo bo leng mo bona mo leng bo bona le tlo bo bona ha qeta tsamaya. So it makes all sense under heaven why you're holding on to me for dear life. Nishelo kunabanye abenu as if don't inkolota anything and isitshela ukuthi Karabo if only you just took off ifilter your makeup then I will see ukuthi grandshap if umuhle or awukho muhle or what ngempela then ngizohamba nawe girl ngizokuthanda as if though mina ngizoba nendoda that has been looking at me all this time. First and foremost, enough for him to like me, I'd be all trepidatious about whether or not I'm truly pretty, as if I'm going to be prepared to be with somebody that's looked at me suffering and took it in his stride and was too shallow to do anything about loving a woman for personality yakhe nje kuphela, just the way that she is. Ubu godly bam was not enough for you, so therefore ubuhle bam noma ungab-confirm in real life or not, it's still not going to do anything for me in the climate of such a shallow man as that. I don't owe you anything. But secondly, just indaba yokuthi umfazi that you don't consider pretty ningamiyekela nje ukuthi ayodlwa ngama-monster la eMzansi and yet call yourselves abazalwane. That is the issue. I'm Christian and some of y'all call yourselves believers by mere virtue of me being a sister in Christ. Megwamele ukuthi ningisize to get out of this by mere virtue of me being your sister in Christ, whether or not there was anything in it for you. That is how church works. The early church and the Acts of the Apostles, they gave away everything that belonged to them, everything, in order to make sure that their brothers and sisters had no lack. So ubuhle bam ought not be your inspiration, neither motivation for why it is that I am worth the while to rescue. It ought to have been my Christianity at all. So therefore I don't owe you removing a makeup filter, even though there was a time when I did. There was a time when I did remove it. That wasn't enough for you. Guys, how much proof must I give you? Why do I even owe you proof? That ngimuhle. Ngoba mengimele ngisizwe nje. By mere virtue of being umntwana kaSomandla literally more bazalwane. That's who you are, South Africa. Halibazalwane, you are skirting on thin ice. Do you understand? And sindisangwa. This has all been conditional upon me subjugating myself to the tyranny of all of your lukewarmness, that you will ever do anything for me until God arranged something else for this here cranky. Ungithandile uSomandla in a way that you just didn't. When the enemy comes at us like a flood, God raises a standard, and if at all you don't help God's disciples, God will raise up somebody else to do it for them. Ngoba akandingi. However, unikeza grace to do better ukuthi mase manje the plague ilanda in your backyard. You don't have to endure it. Angolodi muntu mina. I don't owe anyone removal of a filter. I don't owe anyone confirmation ukuthi nginjani. I don't know anyone a personal meeting ukubona ukuthi grandchild am I truly the way that I am on social media. Angingolodi lutho ngoba if you did not make sure that I am unable to work anywhere, you would know ukuthi what I look like, because all you would have to do is go see me lang sebenza khona. Kodwa you make sure ukuthi angithola umsebenzi angisho ngoba you are jealous for me, you are possessive. You know that as soon as I've got my own money, I'm gonna go out there and soar like a bird. And happy you are so pedantic about my age. Like the amount of concern that you have about my age is just so offensive to me. Because I can live for over 40. Yo, dog. You were this shallow when I was 37 and 38. You were this shallow when I was 35. For as long as I'm not 12 years old, you men will always find an excuse to do nothing for a woman. La tella. And happen abuser. You were going to treat me like I'm scum. So God rescued me from all that collective incendiary behavior. So jagaha ilawaritika buravors fingers lemaram are more than I would appreciate in a day. Kibon in the grandchild pusing is hanka post a video dinjatse young stopisa vievi. And as one this time I know shem jebile I'm not happy with how big I am. I kerate size ya mabele aga. I don't like my boobs, how big they're getting. Well, not entirely, but still, like, I want them smaller. I don't like my hands, how fresh they're getting. Maramaon, how on, ang shapaga face, literally. I've never had such vangers in my life, ever. Like, ever. If at all, I'm going to gain Zimbabwe back. If at all, I'm going to lose weight and then go back to being as fit as I was. If at all, I'm going to succeed to experiment with whether or not Zimbabwe can still make the same gains, even though I'm in my 40s now. If I'm going to go and test that hypothesis, I need to like hide, dog. I gotta hide, like in the crack of a wall, like I'm a lizard. No, but the moment I show myself in front of you, while I'm not scared of your entities. Bottom line is I'm in South Africa. And mona, utatawanga ronule chibuku, mbamba, kibuloi, utaimelwa. Even though you are a successful warrior, man, you always clanking swords. You're wearing a full armor. Bottom line is, I mean, 1 hour in the gym is still 1 hour too heavy for umuntu that's just inebriated with anesthetic. And I am tired of being under your freaking anesthetic. I might be immune to your witchcraft, but I'm not immune to the effects of it. Especially considering I'm under your princes. I'm under your territorial entities. So, it's their whip that they're cracking. When they see a Christian, they're like, this is my country, you're just living in it. You've given your nations over to Beelzebub. And so, your nation, you've given your South Africa over to Beelzebub. So since Lifile South Africa to that those entities, every time I try to make war with not only your evil, but the malevolent spirits that feel entitled to you, that are holding on to you for dear life because they can. You have compromised, you settled, you bewitched, you ran to Amasangoma when life got a little hard. You feed these entities. And so minamangzama ukuzi luisa by appealing to your consciences and to God in you. Not in you, but God speaking to you. When I'm trying to appeal to what's going on with you? Salvation at least. Know how I said that earlier? No mangingazama to appeal to all that. At the end of the day, I've been trying to do all that since 2019. That was version volume 2.0 again, because I tried. As soon as I was born again, you kicked me out of corporate South Africa. In the beginning of my suffering, I tried underground. When I came back from underground again, I tried, and you made me stop working out even though I had accustomed myself to doing it for 4 whole years. You did that. So this time around, what am I gonna do with you, hospice care rando that's on your way out, and every doctor in the hospital wants you dead anyway? Every doctor in the hospital wants you lights out anyway. Every nurse is exhausted with you. You that crazy patient that everybody is just waiting for you to die. But I'm that nurse with a different spirit. Because why wouldn't I nzwela yung pumalana? I remember when it was better. I remember when this place was doing a better thing. When it was chikaring itself like a model and it was all cute. I remember. And now I say nonile iatelela wonke umuntu ayisabukeki. And so ulandzela wonke umuntu for indaba yokuthi meguyihit. Mega cool. You were hot once and now you're not anymore, so now you're giving everyone attitude about your former fame. That's who you are, South Africa. So jaga haletella hagan. Listen, I don't need you anymore. I'm better off now than I was back then. And God himself told me, Faroneko. And now I'm not gonna go against God. I haven't even succeeded to make inroads. I haven't even succeeded to reform y'all. Because I got dula mosifu banking YouTube. even though uyahlanya. Because like I said, it's like spazzing over Tyler and thinking feasibly when as a fan, a subscriber, that you're gonna actually marry her. I got men like those because some weird crazy females done put me in their front lines. So am I gonna die like Jimmy Elliott? Ke lo spear wana, ke lo hlabwa ka dithipa, ke batho galentse ba le hostel, noma nyi ba lethela amalekere nge aeroplane. Even when I'm dropping food supplies, medicine supplies in their village, ba fola. But to keep over penicillin, no longer do they have to die from treatable diseases because of me. And born, I'm self-preserving and so staying away from you. I get lost someone to people that think that they can just bring back lost lover. But I just wanted to come to a ministry because I just felt a pull. I've dated a guy that I kept dumping but kept getting back together with him because kids about mona relationship I don't want to be here, but I couldn't help but keep on getting back together with him because I'm lawyer. Mara azanga pulo after that. The Lord not rescue me until next time was my laugh bag. The difference was Jesus, don't you see? I've been in a relationship where somebody kept calling me back even though I knew I didn't want to be there. In me, I knew that I don't want to be in this relationship, but I kept on getting back together with him. Until I got born again. It's been almost 16 years since then. It's been now almost 16 whole entire years since I broke up with that bugger. But for 5 years, I tried to leave and couldn't. Matla abuloi will take everyone else over except abazalwane. I succeeded ukushiya indoda mezongivimba ngemithi yonke impilo yami. Ngizochada indoda that I'm over. I'm over him. I'm not in love anymore. But I'm walking down the aisle to him. I would have married a man that was just manipulating the crap out of me with witchcraft. And he was among the first to try and bring me back into his life after I left my ministry. Poster I'm staying because you think you're Jennifer Hudson. I succeeded to leave. So indaba yokuthi nizama ukungibuyisa with similar witchcraft like bring back lost lover was alana uzoposta lo dumi that is spelled to say noma ungangithuka anginandaba noma ungangitshela indaba zami anginandaba kwamele ubuye. One day I'm gonna wake up and find out ukuthi uchadile lo muntu, so I need to see ukuthi wenzani ukuthi ngizohlala ngimthakatha ngathi yangidelela le njalena. Iyazi ukuthi ngiyaphuphiswa, iyazi ukuthi ngithola ngama visions, iyazi yonke into, and yet ke mo wetsa ditlhare nje fela go ngkhutlisa hore ke tlo nnentse ke mo lotsa taba tsa hae o ga tlo kgona ho keep tabs on me. I mean, of course, when you are just seeing what people are doing spiritually, why would you want to parade yourself in front of people that think that they can summon you like you are an entity using their pantheon of gods? I mean, it's a matter of pride over here, don't you see? I'm not gonna, thanks to my passion for a country that frankly does not deserve all that passion, thanks to my compassion and thanks to how sorry I feel for you, ngizoza la ngizokhuluma nabantu bafila engathi basucceedile mina ukungiyenka ngekhaya, to come and talk to them when I was able to finally rip myself out of a 5-year relationship because on the day when I gave my life to Christ, not only did God make him a fool, but he made me strong enough to stay gone. What makes you think that if I could do 16 years strong without that bugger, that I can't sit producing content underground for 1.5 to 2 years while I'm waiting to move to Korea? What makes you think that I can't do that? What makes you think that it won't be easy for me? Because I told you I'm way too good at goodbye. I know how to say bye and get gone and stay gone. I know how to door slam and not look back. It's my thing. It's my thing, and ever since coming to the Lord Jesus Christ, it's more so even my thing because the power of the Holy Spirit has made me even immune to witchcraft pulls. So no, do you mean Jadoe? I did not feel a pull with your witchcraft to come here in Jeffela and tell you where to get off. The pull that I felt was one that I was given an emphatic no concerning, because I was told that you and your conglomerate of beasts are Pharaoh Neko. Zobulala umuntu nje that has done a beautiful thing in Israel. Ngoba God did not give me permission to come here and speak. Ngoba uSomandla anginikezanga permission to come here ukuthi ngizokhuluma nani. And so I'm not going to be presumptuous like my brother Josiah and come anywhere and fight a war that I can't win. I'm dealing with your entities under this principality called South Africa. And so angizodila nani. Ushilo wena self dumindi that you defecated where you ate, and yet despite that ubhizi ngemithi. Ubhizi since ngongaka ka age yakho. Ubhizi usayeza ubuthakathi ukuthi abantu bangabe attractive to me men. Ubhizi unesikhwele for umfazi shop that you could never touch kodwa uzamile. You got stunts, bro. Unama stunts, and yet ulambe ure ashi umbashile uyatota kumindaba ukuthi angikho lana kodwa usangidelela ngemithi still to this day. Onghoga ka ijerese or noma ngangithuka buya karabo kanguthi mina ngangisamona abuthi I'm not coming back here because of you. Neither am I even sure that I'm coming back. I'm producing this content because of the passion in my heart, but it depends on karabo ya morena Jesu uposta msebenzi or not. Korapela. Seeing as you already gave me an emphatic no, wangitshela ukuthi mina ngizoba njengoJosiah phambi kwa ubani lo muntu Pharaoh Neko wangitshela ukuthi ngizoba njengoJimmy Elliot ngiyobulala ngabantu that ngiyobulalwa ngabantu engibalethele imedication ditlhare Uralo fola dinjato etekula ngiyobulalwa njengo what do you like Jesus cast out of Nazareth azangwabuya mina ngizothi ngibuyelane if my Messiah azanga khutlela ko Nazareth na ke tla khutlela. If at all Jesus did not go back to Nazareth, why would I come back to South Africa? Why? There is nothing in it for me. Listen, I have everything to gain by staying away and nothing to lose. And everything to lose. Sorry, I have nothing to gain by staying away. Everything to gain, sorry, by staying away. And nothing to lose by coming back. And nothing to lose. I have nothing to lose by leaving. Everything to gain by leaving. And nothing to rather gain by coming back. I stand to just endure loss. I only stand to endure losses by posting this content. Because I ngisho nithakatha yonke into umuntu akhuluma ngayo. And even though I'm immune to a witchcraft, I am still nonetheless afflicted by the remnants of it. The effects of it, the after effects, the aftermath. I still get woozy and tired and demonically oppressed, like excessively, until I have to pray for extended periods of time to conquer and pierce through to the other side what you try to achieve. And every ounce of information that I share in these videos, you come against it in one way, shape, or another. And while I am not subjugated to the tyranny of your witchcraft spells on what it is that are my plans, nonetheless, I am subjugated to the tyranny of your physical sabotage of my plans. And since some of y'all got way too much money than anyone can ever appreciate in these streets, so while you cannot make me nonetheless you can try to rape me through a man. While you cannot, like Mamela, in my last video, I shared that I am registered with the TEFL Academy to get my TEFL course, my TEFL certificate. Immediately, y'all afflicted me with witchcraft spells or pass. Give it up somewhere along the way. It's a 6-month course, but you can finish it before then. You try to drag me out. Can take it so I find like no, since when do I just gather dust, Mina? When? Since when? You try to make me until it expire. And today, as at the time that I'm doing this video, now is the 27th of June, because of the I've skipped over to the next day. 26. Yeah, as at today, I'm 60% into my course. I only have 4 modules left to do. I haven't failed a single unit. And in order to pass a unit, you have to get a minimum of 70%. And I haven't gotten anything lower than 88% for all of my units. So I've passed everything first time. And I have submitted my first assignment and it came back pass. With assignments, you can only get a pass or a fail. They don't grade you whether you're 80%, 90%, but you don't pass anything in that TEFL course if you get anything less than 70%. So essentially, whatever my true grade is in my assignment is something above 70%. And it was my first submission. You get an opportunity. It was my first submission and you get an opportunity to resubmit your assignment 3 times if you fail the first 2 times. After the 3rd time, they just kick you out and maybe even give you a refund. I passed my assignment on my first submission, my first assignment. I'm about to do my second assignment after doing unit 7, and I'm gonna start unit 7 maybe tomorrow or the day after. After that is my second assignment. I haven't failed a single unit, and I only submitted my first assignment so far once, and it came back passed because I'm that girl. I can fail. Not when I put my mind to something. I am an academic. I'm not a genius. I don't call myself a genius, but I'm really smart. I'm an A student. Witchcraft cannot take a person that when they write a math exam they come up with 90%. It cannot take that person if they're still studying and make them suddenly, even though they put their all into studying, it cannot cause that person to suddenly come up with an A with 50%, and that's already 95. Insofar as they maintain their studying trajectory, an intelligent student that always aces an exam will always ace it in spite of your sorcery. The thing, however, that causes people to fail because you've done a spell on them is what my cousin did to me when I was at Wits. Wear me out so much. I felt that. Sleeping curses. That when I'm at a lecture, I feel tired. And I'm like a bobblehead, and my head is just all over. Like, you know, a bobblehead, how when you're driving a car, it goes yeah, it just be drowsy and struggle to concentrate when a lecturer is speaking, struggle to take down notes, find yourself sleeping 5 minutes into a lecture and then waking up again and realizing you've skipped a whole bunch of content covered. And also the lack of umdlandla to go to school at all, skipping lectures, not attending school, making excuses, delaying studying because you don't feel like it. That's what can cause an A student to suddenly come up with 50%, maybe even fail. But if this person, the student, resists because they're taking for granted that it's university and not high school, so nobody's going to be keeping tabs on whether or not they came. If the student decides that they're not going to go to lectures, If they decide that they're not going to go to tutorials, if they decide that I'm not going to study today, if they procrastinate and rather decide to study tomorrow, the next day and the next day, and so then they find themselves day before the exam only then opening their textbook, that's what could cause an A student as a result of witchcraft that made them procrastinate and also fall asleep in class and struggle to concentrate to fail. The thing that causes sorcery to work is essentially causing behaviors that can bring about failure. When I was working at MTN, as a result of a whole bunch of people coming at my career, I was again very lethargic at work, exhausted, feeling heavy like I'm walking underwater. And this was intended to make me lazy emsebenzini, drop the ball, lose concentration, blah blah blah. And while the temptation was there, while I was inebriated with some toxin in my body, nonetheless I realized ukuthi ngisemsebenzini lana, ngize lana ngumsebenzi, ngize lana ukuyocollect isalary, ukuyoimpress abantu futhi, because I'm Christian. I said in my heart, whatever you do, whether you eat, whether you drink, whatever it is that you be doing, do it all for the glory of God. So I understood that first it was a demonic attack, and secondly, I'm not just gonna not pitch at work. I'm not gonna just not go to work, or I'm not gonna just not deliver deliverables. Like, I'm not gonna just annoy a project sponsor. I'm not just gonna let myself drop a ball in front of my boss who asked something of me and I just choose not to do it. I'm not gonna do it therefore even if I'm not feeling like doing my minutes, or I'm not feeling like updating my project plan, I'm not feeling like doing my report, I'm not feeling like, bottom line is, it doesn't matter how I feel. Because I collect salary and I got deliverables and ngingaqoshwa. So I just refused to hearken to the exorbitant fatigue. I got to work dragging my body even in traffic, in my car, to get home. Mangifike ekhaya, surprise, surprise, I'm no longer in the office. When during the day when I needed it, long story short, the spell would lift off my chest as soon as I was no longer in an environment where I had to perform. Now when it was time, looking at the ceiling all night long. Insomnia. It happens like clockwork in the season. Out here, bobblehead, drowsy. During the day when I'm trying to study. And then we see who I was saying, I get it what I was saying. Kamata. Was saying highly 6 because 6 was saying all night long I'm praying, studying, doing whatever it is that I'm doing, because that's just the way that my routine, my schedule is, and it's actually quite frankly ideal, this routine and this schedule, because I get it initially I'm going to be teaching online, so it's gonna work with like weird hours of other people in other countries. It's weird hours for me, but for them it's normal time. So turns out my schedule is working out together for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. But the point I'm getting at is that I give it like a 6 a.m. thing. Now it's time for me now to retire. Okay, seeing as I've been drowsy all night. Yo, here. There are matchsticks on my eye. When now it is time for me to sleep, I'm here. The video, the short for YouTube, because I keep on getting the Wi-Fi lana. You're gonna find it in the 14-part series. So now Wi-Fi reaches even back here. So I can watch shorts on YouTube to pass time, play Candy Crush, whatever. Cause give more. 3-4 hours go fail until finally something finally just knocks me out. But then I have to wake up because it's called discipline at a certain time, otherwise I would be sleeping all day in order to satiate my need to sleep, because I was given insomnia at a time to sleep, but I was given sleepiness at a time to be alert. When you resist, eventually the devil flees from you, and God the next night or 2 nights down the road, he will give you a full night of sleep if you resist today. So seeing as I'm so trained in spiritual war, like my bobblehead walk on, when I feel them, I just shake my head, and it works out when I'm wearing a fake afro. I just shake my head. I shake it like that, and I shake it, and then I just continue to do what I'm doing. Even if I'm watching Smallville, or if I'm watching a video on YouTube, like on Ezekiel or whatever. I can feel and feel a bobblehead. I'm like, because it's not time to sleep. I don't let myself sleep at certain hours. And when it's time to sleep, if I can't sleep, in spite of me being unable to sleep, I will wake up at whatever time it is that I determine to wake up, because we don't do sleeping well into the day to para ourselves on the bed. Ngati we ain't jack or whatever. So in returning then to that student, that is an A student, that student that is an honors roll student, witchcraft can work to make them fail matric. It can work to make them fail varsity. But the thing that will make them fail is in Dabayoguti, they allowed themselves to not study, they allowed themselves to procrastinate, they allowed themselves to drop the ball. When they fell asleep in lectures or in class, they did not then go home later and self-study. They let themselves fall apart because they told themselves, Uti, I was tired. You will see it for what it is. When you are not acting in tandem with your character, you will just ignore whatever under heaven is going on with your body, and you will fight. And in my last year at Wits, my cousin was so heavy busy with me, that I was sleepy in lectures. No, Even though, listen, I was very energetic when I had just arrived, I struggled to push. And as soon as I would get home, that fatigue that I felt esikolweni nasemsebenzini, I was drowning at work in exhaustion that was inordinate, and I was drowning at school. But when I opened the door to my apartment, I'm the Duracell bunny. When I opened the door to my apartment, I'm the Duracell bunny to a point where I would have to force myself to sleep because I'm so energetic. And logo that I would force myself to do before midnight, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm out just staring at the ceiling because I guess it's all that pretty when you can't sleep. And since I'm not gonna instead of sleeping, snoozing, I'm playing Candy Crush. It's brief izondlula. Mandlula God uzonginikeza so much sleep that I get to next about tomorrow night or maybe night after. So I look forward to a very, very decent sleep after y'all make me an insomniac. However, not first before making me drowsy during the day or during the time when I'm supposed to be awake. So if the student that I spoke about earlier does not allow themselves to drop the ball, bazopasa noma bakhathele esikolweni, bazopasa noma bafila bazostudisha noma bangazifeel noma bangenamdlandla, uzozehesha ahlale phansi phambi kwencwadi noma ngafuni. Ngoba uyazi ukuthi if I don't study, listen, what else can I do? I'm not that girl. I don't drop balls of this nature. I'm not that girl or that guy. I'm dropping my blow ball lana, so noma ngafuna ukufunda ngizofunda. And you know what happens when you tell yourself ukuthi noma ngafuna ukufunda ngizofunda? You will find that as soon as you peel open a book, you're in it like a bear. The thing that they were trying to make you stop doing, when you're in it, you're gonna feel right at home. That's like an internal check inside your spirit that this is where you're supposed to be, but this is where they didn't want you to be. So with my TEFL course, the desire to procrastinate, the desire to drop the ball, not do it, the desire to and also my assignment, I've been gone for over a month, and all this time I get progress through my course. There came a time when y'all got so desperate that you really ramped up the spells to block me from my studies, and it was just before it gets on my assignment. It took me the assignment. I was supposed to read it, research for it, and all that jazz. Easily, within a short space of time, within a day, 2, 3, gather my resources. I know, Shem. I danced around my assignment. I did like a reference list and then danced around part 1, part 2, part 3 for 2 weeks. I knew that I was under an influence, but because the course is 6 months long, there's no way that I'm gonna retire out of that 6 months without being done. I was inebriated with depression, anxiety, all different kinds of things, and I danced around the assignment for such a long time that it took me 2 weeks to finally start doing part 1 of it. And after doing part 1 of it, the next day I was planning on doing part 2, and then the day after that part 3. I did part 2 and 3 in one day, and the only reason why I did part 1 alone in one day was because there was an interruption in because my mom asked me to do something for her. It wasn't an interruption by my mom, it was a power cut. We've got solar panels, but when there's no electricity for like over 12 hours, 24 hours, because our solar panels are charged by Eskom during the time when it's on, the power can actually go off in the wee hours of the morning, and our power went out in like before even the wee hours. It went out the other day about 11 at night when I was still in the middle. Like I had just done my part 1 of the assignment and I was about to start part 2, and then that was the only reason I didn't finish it in one day. So a assignment that would have taken me, given that I did all my research in one day, covered it all, and perhaps the next days I would then be reviewing it, revising it, making sure that it's up to the T and perfect. Something that would have taken me one day ended up taking 2 days because of that situation that we had. Mara, what I'm getting at is that once I put my mind to it, it took me one day. Though I was trying to do one part one day, second part second day, third part third day, in one day. Because it was literally not that onerous, not that taxing, given how hard I studied. It was easy peasy lemon squeezy. For me anyway. Yangitata one day, essentially. But for me to get to that one day where I did my whole assignment, it took me 2 weeks to get started. Cause of y'all. And in that 2-week season, I was dilly-dallying around it. Like I said, I started first the reference list before even starting the assignment. Although I think that's a good method, by the way. You might want to try it. Do your reference list first, or your bibliography first, before your assignment. It really goes a long way in alleviating stress from your bones about properly referencing, anyway, whatever, or even about your research materials. I did all that in a day. Because you afflicted me. However, I was aware that you were all up in my grill. The important thing here is that I was aware of it. It's just that I kind of capitulated to it because I imagined somewhere along the way I feel so bad and I was so depressed And when then I started, I couldn't stop. So the important thing is to just get into the thing that you can't stand to think about. Because some witch is all up in your grill like ticks in the hair. Therefore, when sorcery is trying to make you stop your degree or quit, just open a textbook and everything from there just goes. Everything from there just goes. It's about going where the witch doesn't want you to go. Go anyway. Go to class. Go into your textbook. Go into your report at work and do it. Go into your minutes of the meeting and do them. Go to where you need to go, where the witch doesn't want you to go. And when you're there, a check in your spirit will tell you you're in the right place, because I can see why it took me so long to get this started, because I'm right at home over here. Therefore, your attempt to fail me, it failed. Why? Because I'm an academic. I'm too smart to fail if I study. I can't fail if I don't even touch a single book, because I don't acquire knowledge by osmosis. Neither do I acquire knowledge by telepathy. It's not just gonna land in my spirit. Therefore, if I don't know the subject content, of course I'm gonna fail. But if I open a book, I can't fail. I'm too smart. I am way too gifted. Here. So therefore, if I crack open a textbook, I am bound to pass. I can't fail. But I have been insecure that I might fail. Every assessment that I do, I'm scared that I might fail, because I do this assessment like a bobblehead. I do my assessments the way I'm so sleepy, drowsy during assessments, such that when I submit my quiz, I'm expecting 5 out of 20. I'm expecting 7 out of 20. I'm expecting 2 out of 9, and then I come up with 9 out of 9. The most recent one was 9 out of 9. 9 hectic questions each. When I say 9, it's not just 9 questions. It's not just 9 individual questions. It's like one question could have like 5 parts in it. And I'm out here expecting to come up on the other side, got 60%, passes 70%, and then I get 100. Why? Because I studied. All that information in my brain. Guys, why would it be wrong? Man, I'm saying respond to my questions. I explain that. Why would I study 1 + 1 = 2 and then enter the answer 2 in an answer sheet and have the system mark me wrong? Why? I wouldn't fail. But what this witchcraft has done is caused me so much insecurity that even though I know that 1 + 1 = 2, nonetheless, I think I might get it wrong, because maybe witchcraft is working. All that witchcraft can do is make you scared that it is working. But if you just do God's work in honoring Him as unto the Lord, o ka se faile o badile, o ka se tlo sunana le monna o go batlang kankane, o tseba gore modimo o go tshireleditse, o mo rapella, avoid, flee from fornication, flee from sin. You are not going to fall into a trap when you're actively trying to avoid it. It's what I'm getting at. Therefore, witchcraft does not take away your autonomy. It does not take away your ability to self-regulate, but it does make you drop a ball, if at all you will hearken to the desire to do so. So dinjado, and I haven't failed so far, and I'm not gonna fail. I'm not gonna fail. But just the fact that you have tried to make me fail, at a distance, all this information from my ministry. I need them to come up against everything that I'm saying now. The 14-part series that is linked to this video. In it, I share some information, some of the information of which is a strategy that God gave me, telling me that I haven't lost my degree. I just need to pay back my fees at Wits and they will give me my degree. And that's what I'm planning to do, seeing as I'm about to start working. I was like, nah, I'm not going to post this work. Well, initially I wasn't sure if I should. God then told me, don't. You're Pharaoh Neko. No, not your Pharaoh Neko, you're Josiah, and they're going to kill you because they're hostile. You're Jimmy Elliott. It was an emphatic no. And before I got that emphatic no from God, I remember just thinking, while I know that witchcraft is not going to make me do what these people want me to do, I am aware that in themselves they're saboteurs and criminals. They're full of bribes, but they're full of amajojo. They're full of extortion. They're full of manipulation. So also I'll go YouTube. Is the reason why I don't have a YouTube channel today. It's the reason why I'm sitting on 0 views and no subscribers. It's the reason why I've been moving around from pillar to post going nowhere. But if at all I did not have any such restrictions, no matter how many people might do, like an invisibility spell, making sure that nobody sees my content by mere virtue of just magic operating in front of their eyes, whatever, it would fall apart. I'm a Christian. Entities ain't got jack on me. But human beings, people can sabotage. So if someone, though if you're a prayerful Christian, they cannot get to someone spiritually because you're too prayerful for them to actually do anything, for them to actually make a dent spiritually. It's Giorgio, and a corrupt country is still a corrupt country, it's still a corrupt country. I mean, this nation is so corrupt. This nation is so corrupt. Right now, my mom has phone. It's cracked the screen. The screen initially was half visible, and now it's completely gone. Her phone is only 2 years old. She bought it for a cool 30,000 rands, though. I don't think she bought it cash. I think it was on contract. That was the market value. Now, after 2 years, a phone, 30K, Can it ultimately get to like being 13,000 rands? I don't know. I used to work in insurance. It's possible because of depreciation and market value of equipment really goes down quite rapidly. So I can't fight that. I'm not really sure. I would have to go online to figure this out. But one thing I'm certain of is that when I was working in insurance as a claims consultant, the insurance company would far better, more likely, rather repair your phone or your car or your whatever, if it is repairable, than give you the replacement value of that vehicle or of that piece of equipment. They would much rather give you repair it, unless of course the car is completely written off or the piece of equipment is completely written off. So, seeing as I've been in insurance before, I know how if at all you're an honest insurer, you operate, because I've been in claims consulting. The repair, we would much rather through our supplier repair your phone than give you a new one altogether, or even pay you out the market value as at that date, in taking into consideration depreciation of your equipment or your vehicle, whatever might be the thing you're claiming from insurance. Yeah, an insurance company deciding to pay you market value for a phone or even for a car rather than repair it when it is repairable. And my mom cracked a screen and her phone that retailed at the time of buying it cash for 30,000 rands. Apparently, allegedly, the market value or the replacement value of it is now 13,000 rands, which I doubt after just 2 years, but we don't know. Depreciation is like a whole crazy monster. We know it's a thing. Even if that is a thing, nobody's actually trying to pay market value or retail, not retail value, but market value as at the date of that equipment. If the thing can be repaired, because it's less money for the insurance company to repair it than to pay full market value for that thing. If the phone had been stolen, they would have had to pay my mom market value for it. But because it has been broken, or it the screen, just the screen. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, they now want to not repair, but they want to pay her market value, cash, and then recover the cell phone from my mom. If it was lost, they would have given her market value for that phone, and then she would have had to go and get a new phone somewhere out there. But because the phone is still in her possession, they want to take her phone and give her market value for it. So essentially, long story short, I hope you're catching with me here. They want to keep the phone, give my mother market value, and then grab a perfectly new, very expensive Samsung phone for themselves while giving my mother 13,000 rands. What's going on over there? It's South Africa. It's what I've been crying about. It's your corruption. I've worked in insurance during a time when they were innocent, during a time when the country made sense. And back then, my boss and I and everybody insisted on repairing phones fast and furious before we would ever give anybody market value for their perfectly repairable either cell phone or vehicle or portable possession, whatever. We would much rather repair it. It's less money for us as an insurance company. So if you want to take the phone and give a person market value, are you not functioning like a pawn shop, buying things cheaply and then reselling them at a very lofty price? They were likely trying to take the phone from my mom, do you understand, and resell it at maybe 20,000 rands, maybe even 17,000 rands, but give my mom 17 grand, but give my mom 13 grand. My mother saw through it, I saw through it, everybody saw through it, but the insurance company is sticking to their guns. When South African citizens who don't know their rights, don't know that they've got the Ombudsman, the Consumer Protection Act, when they don't know how to fight, flailing their hands in the sky like they just don't care to get their stuff did, they just get swindled. And this here event with my mom's cell phone device also happened with her with once upon a time a microwave that she bought for cash. Go macro. Do you understand what I'm saying? And macro was out here beating her around the bush after the microwave packed in and did a strange thing. After just 2 months, they were trying to just keep repairing. And I kept telling my mom, listen, go to the Ombudsman and get a brand spanking new microwave, because this here is twitching and glitching too much for a 2-month-old microwave. Ultimately, my mom got a brand spanking new microwave, but the corruption of the country is such that they be out here trying to repair a microwave that is twitching and glitching after just 2 months of coming off the showroom floor. Those are your suppliers. Those are your insurance companies. Those are your big retailers, your giants, even macro. That's South Africa. These are the business leaders running the country. Men and women that are in power in corporates are doing this to consumers. My mother was told at first by the call centers where she lodged her claim to go and get a quote from Samsung, a reputable dealer for her kind of cell phone. And my mom went to Samsung directly. Go any other kind of random third party or second party, third party. She went directly to Samsung. They gave her a quote to fix the screen, 9.5. And the insurance company took the phone and got their own quote from their own supplier after telling my mom to go to Samsung or wherever to get a quote herself. And then they decided to come back with an answer to my mom on the phone without even showing her what their quote was, and said to my mom, listen, we've gone to our own supplier after they told my mom to go to Samsung. And our supplier told us that it would cost more than what it is that was the quote from Samsung. And since we insist that you use our own suppliers, since the value was higher than your overall market value for the phone, we are not going to repair it. We're just going to give you market value for your phone, but we're gonna come and collect the phone. They're just basically telling my mom, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna resell your phone for 17,000 rands and give you 13,000 rands, make a 4,000 rand profit, even though you could have had that same phone fixed if at all. We paid you out 9,500 rands by Samsung, the Samsung of which is the actual phone manufacturer. I found out that Samsung is from South Korea. We need to just take this to South Korea altogether, like all the way to the top, because some countries don't have that level of corruption going on, and be like, look at what they're trying to do out here, disreputing your company from the shores of South Africa. That level of corruption. I told my mom, this thing is simple. Just go to the Botswana, and like they just want you to like whip out some kind of legal action, then they'll do better by you. So in Jafela, Threatneka Ombudsman, Threatneka Consumer Protection Act, they can't win. And also, based on the laws, likely the terms and conditions of their own policies, it's illegal. It's malpractice. It's some kind of they're not in keeping with the Financial Services Act. They're not in keeping with how financial services providers are supposed to act towards consumers. Why would an insurance company decide to pay market value rather than repair? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make financial sense for the insurance company to do that. So essentially, they're trying to swindle my mom. That is your country. That's South Africa. I could think of better days. I remember better days when they would never have done that. I personally, as a claims consultant, would have compared quotes and told my mom, as a claims consultant working for Telesure, to pay for her repairs.